Now that we have the ability to display the question of the day on the screen over on the right hand side, we want the ability to record the vote. We haven't done that yet. So how do you feel about the Yankees? Love them or hate them is your options. Perhaps you might choose love them, perhaps you might not. And when you click on vote, it'll say your vote has been recorded. That's what we'd like to have happen. So let's go take a look at that right side again. We are setting up an if is set ARR bracket single quote AID. So what that's saying is if in the ARR array, if there is a variable called AID, does it exist? If it does, I'm going to do one thing. Else, I had an if before that, now I'm going to do else if. But let me go back to this. If there is an AID, it's going to insert the vote. Else, it's going to ask, do you have a current question? It has current question. That's either true or false, a Boolean. It'll display one QOD if in fact you do have a current question. Else, it's just going to say right side. So we'll either have a question or it'll say right side, except for when we have an AID. If we've sent the AID, we know you sent an answer ID, we know you're voting. So we're going to have a function called insert vote. And it's going to send that ARR array to it. So function insert vote. We begin by taking the AID out of the array, just calling it $AID. And the QID, we know if there's an AID, there's also going to be a QID, question ID. And we're going to get today's date, the IP address, and then in this case the IP address and the date are both generated by the system. AID and QID are the ones that involve potential user input. So the SQL statement insert into daily responses, QID, AID, IP, ADDR, and the date and the values. 2 question marks here. IP and today are not question marks. We prepare the statement. We bind the two, QID and AID, in the correct order. They're both integers, so we have II on the bind parameter. We execute the statement. Sounds done. Your vote has been recorded. That's all you have to do. Get it to work.